Do you have flowers going to seed in your garden too? Before you throw them onto the compost heap, think about saving some seed from them to plant in your garden next year. Now, there's several reasons to do this. We like to save our own seed because obviously it saves money. It's a very good way to cut down on your gardening bill every year. We also love it because the seed is fresh and viable and it germinates very quickly when you sow it the next year. And it is also a way to develop new varieties, which isn't really part of this video, but that is part of saving your own seed.
We've had a lot of fun with seed saving over the years, but I'd like to just put a little disclaimer in here that we're no experts. And we may not understand all the ins and outs of pollination, even though we talk about it a little bit.
No.
But, you know, I think what our goal here is just to inspire you to try it as well. And maybe you do save your own seeds. But we'd like to share some of the things that have helped us through the years, some best practices we have.
And I think that it's easy to think that you have to be an expert to even do something. And what we've learned through this is you don't have to be.
Right.
Just try it. Have fun with it.
If you want to save your own seed and you want it to come true to the parent, there are several things to keep in mind. Some seed is open pollinated, and if I understand that correctly, it's just, the bees will pollinate two varieties of the same flower and make a new color or, a new shape or new form. So if you have a lot of flowers like that, and you'll have to do the research here to know which ones are, those kinds, you'll either want to just grow one of that kind in your garden so it doesn't cross-pollinate, or if you want to have the seed come true to the parent, you'll have to grow them, a distance apart. If you want to have a new color or something develop, that's not a big deal. Just plant them side by side in your garden.
Then a couple other good practices for saving the seed is always select the healthiest plants and the prettiest flowers to save. That's kind of how they develop new varieties. They select for the traits and the characteristics they want. We've also heard that the first blooms that a plant puts out are the most vigorous and healthy. So if you want to save, maybe save the first bloom if you can. But yeah, don't save from diseased or stunted or unhealthy plants, basically.
Right. You might be wanting to know, what plants can I save seeds from? An easy way to know what flowers you can save is just to notice what self-sows in your garden. That's how we kind of got into it. I noticed there were several plants popping up around the garden. I knew I hadn't planted them. And so I was pretty sure, you could get viable seed from that. I have a list here of all the flowers we have saved seeds from successfully. So I'll just read down through that. Agrostemma, Argentine forget-me-not, Buplurum, Celosia, Chamomile, Chinese forget-me-not, Craspedia, Cress, Dahlia, Delphinium, Gomphrena, Jewel of Opar, Larkspur, Love in a Puff, Lupin, Nigella, Orlea, Poppies, Rudbeckia, Scabiosa, Silene, Strawflower, Sunflower, and Zinnia. Now some of these you do have to plant only one kind or isolate them in order to get seed that comes true from the parent. But a lot of these, you don't, a lot of these, we just grow either one variety or they don't cross easily.
And I might just add that I snuck Craspedia onto this list just this year because right now I have a bag on my windowsill. I was curious if I could just start my own seed. And I'm planning to plant them out. I still have a few months of growing season to see if they actually come true. I don't know why they wouldn't, but I just took a seed head and crumbled it up on a damp paper towel and put it in a baggie to see if they'd sprout, because I've never saved those before. So that's kind of a good way to do an experiment if you want to make sure you don't have to buy seed the next year. Make sure that it'll sprout. So the ones that tend to cross-pollinate easily would be Celosia, Dahlias. Dahlias almost never come true to the parent if you plant a seed. Delphinium, Larkspur, Rudbeckia, and Zinnias. They don't cross-pollinate easily, some of them, but they do tend to kind of have variations if you save their seed.
A couple of tips to help you to be able to save seed from the parent plant that turns out like the parent plant. And I've gone over a little bit of this before, but we'll just reiterate it. If you have seeds that will cross, you want to isolate those. A zinnia is a good example of that. You can either hand pollinate it, put the little bags over them and hand pollinate them, and you should have seed that comes true to the parent. There are also some kinds of seeds that don't cross quickly, and those can just be planted side by side. You'll have to learn that by trial and error. Gomphrena is one for me that I've saved, I think, 3 different colors for a number of years and they haven't crossed. They still all come true to the parent plant. I thought celosia wouldn't cross as easily, but it's obvious this year, and I don't know if I've just saved seed long enough that it's finally, mutated, or has it actually crossed. So, sometimes it won't show up till a little bit down the road as well. If you have your heart set on a specific variety, let's say you're building a color palette around a Queen Lime Zinnia and you don't know if it's going to come true to the parent, you may just want to buy seed so that you at least have some backups.
So how do you know when to harvest the seeds? A good indication of when a flower is has formed seed already is when it's starting to die on the plant. I tend to wait until the flower is good and dead, because then I know that it's been pollinated. The seed has been forming already, all that good stuff. So with some varieties like Larkspur, Julivopar, I'm thinking some poppies, they tend to drop their petals early before the seed's even formed. What I do then, or what we do, is just to wait until they get kind of papery, they sort of start drying out, and then you know that they've developed their seed. Sometimes they will actually almost pop open and start dropping the seed too, so then you know you should probably get those inside. One of the sort of maybe negative things of saving your seed is you may have ugly spots in your garden for a few weeks or a month.
When you're ready to harvest your seeds, it's a good idea to dry them for a while before storing them for the winter. A lot of flowers can just be hung upside down and dried that way, especially if they don't shed their seed easily. If they do shed their seed easily, like celosia or a silene, you can just put them upside down in a paper bag and make sure there's still airflow so that they can drop as they dry, and then you can just collect the seed at the bottom of the bag. Another way to do it is just to put the flower head on a paper plate that can kind of collect the seeds as they dry and drop. Dry the seed heads, the flowers, in a warm, dry place, but then don't store them in a warm place. They're better stored in a cool, dry place. When your seeds are dried and ready to be stored, you'll want to clean them first. Now, it doesn't have to be super clean. You can leave a little bit of chaff in there, but it's a good idea to at least clean it a bit. That makes it easier in the spring when you're sowing. You're not planting a bunch of chaff, you're just planting seeds. I've heard too that it does help the seed to store better if there's not extra material in there with them. Cleaning seeds can be as easy as just crumbling the flower head on a table, a big surface, and just pulling out the seeds. Big seeds are easy to do that with. Zinnias or dahlias, things that have like a bigger seed, are easy just to pull out.
If your seeds are smaller, then you can just take a couple of bowls and go out on a light, breezy day and just kind of pour them from bowl to bowl and let the wind do the work of blowing the chaff away for you.
And you can use a fan or even a puff of your own breath to winnow them too. I've already put seeds in a shallow bowl and the chaff is in there with them, and you just blow gently on it, the chaff flies out and most of the seed stays in the bowl. So that's another easy way to do it.
So when you go to store your seeds, keep them dry and cool. I just store mine on a closet shelf. Our house is climate controlled, so that works. You can get little envelopes at like a craft supply store, or even just like the letter envelopes. Those work too. They're not ideal, but seal them in an envelope. And I recently bought a plastic photo storage container with a bunch of little boxes in it. So I organize my seeds in that. Well, I'm so excited about that. I've condensed a bunch of baskets of seeds and paraphernalia into one neat little box. So I'll leave a link for that if you're interested in one of those too. I don't always have time to clean my seed right when I harvest it, so I have waited till it dried and then put it in a jar and loosely closed a lid on it. And then later in the season or this fall sometime, I'll go back and clean it.
So those are our best tips, things that we've learned over the years, saving seeds. And I know we don't know it all, so if you have something to add to the conversation, we'd love to hear it. Yeah. And we hope you try it and have good success.
Is that just what the seed looks like?
Oh, this is the seed holder thing. About 1,000.
Oh, that seed should be black. I don't know if that's good looking.
Here's a seed right
That's what the seed looks like when you plant it.
This I got Win and Zane doing.
Oh,
it.
that's what they were doing?
Yeah. They had so much fun and like winnowing. I think Win could have winnowed for hours.
Hold them in your hand then. Yep, and the seeds, that's what they look like. I should just try starting some more of those.
We can do that again.
That's right, those are the seed there.
But this you want to let dry for like a couple weeks
Yeah.
inside before you actually pluck the seed out. Okay, so you can pull it out. Because here's a green one. This
Okay.
green one here. You can actually, if you want to sprout it now and not wait till it dries, you can like split it open
Oh.
a little bit and then plant it like that.
What?
Because you're breaking the seed coat that's so